Hi, it's Rebecca. And yeah, I'm overdressed a little bit, but guess what? It's New Year's and it's time for a wonderful new year. So, in this broadcast, I'm going to be having two parts to it. One is the predictions and the possibilities, and better than that, how you can fix it. If it's not to your liking, what can you do? My earrings messed up here. I decided to get all dressed up to do this because normally I go out dancing on New Year's Eve. Also, for part two, you want to have a glass of water so that we can give you a baptism. So, I would like to talk about the ones who were helping me with this, and I'd like to thank Nostradamus, Elijah, Jesus, Datta Dastagir Badshah, who was a great Sufi saint, Sri Yukteswar, Yogananda, Babaji, and so many more, and the Divine Sophia Feminine Alliance, and Saint Teresa of the Little Flower. She's bringing humility here, and she's saying, be kind to one another. And then Cleve Baxter has really been on the forefront lately. He's the first pioneer who discovered that plants have feelings. So, thanks to all those, just drop to your heart as you receive this information. I have a list of topics they would like to cover. If something else comes in, I will be sure to share it with you. The first thing that Spirit wanted me to talk to you about is China. China is having some major karma going on. And as many of you know, they have a large control of a lot of our money. So one of the things that concerns me about China is not to be in fear. However, certain factions in this country have decided there's too many people. So there could very well be a large disaster in China that will be made to look like an accident when in fact it is no accident. So everything I talk about that's not so good, I'm going to be also be sharing what you can do about it. What good is it to have information come forth so you can be terrified? What good would that do? That would actually feed the chaos energy. So I'm going to be repeating, don't be hating, don't be hating, don't be hating several times in this. What you can do is send up forgiveness energy, kindness energy, and throw pink nets of love light over that whole country and the government, and ask your angels for assistance of what you could do for this situation in China. Also realize that it is true that a lot of souls are desiring to leave and either help from the other side or be reincarnated, not as a Chinese little girl, that's for sure. So just keep those in prayer. And I like to say possibilities instead of predictions, because these are possibilities, but there's no real concrete predictions. You know why? Because we are one of the planets that honor free will above all things. So let's move on to the next topic, which is actually good news. Australia is having some good growth going on, and it's going to be a really good year for Australia and to live in Australia. Now, one of the reasons that Australia is going to begin to flourish more in this coming year is because of the indigenous peoples. You know, it is the indigenous peoples of the world who have kept this planet from blowing completely up. Why? Because they honor the earth. They're saying prayers night and day for so much foolishness and dishonor of Mother Earth, of our precious Gaia that's been going on. So, namaste to the indigenous peoples of all countries who have kept us in the light and here. So, next thing, by the way, there's a comment section below that you can leave your comments. I like to read them and other people like to read them. Next thing I want to talk about is the world economy. This is not going to be the year of an enormous crash. This will be the year of some major ups and downs, dips and trends, and yet it seems like right now we're in a holding pattern to there's a lot of big decisions going on, a lot of spiritual warfare going on, and there's especially a chance, which has been going on for several years. It's a very great time of choosing. Even the dark is being offered a chance to rectify and to choose the light. Conversely, there are some light workers who are being seduced by the darkness. So how can you know where you are and what's best for you? Always drop to your heart and check into your heart. You know, so much things can come into your mind and it can set off a whirl of chaos, but always, always trust your own heart, even about, especially about everything I'm talking about today. Pass it through the filter of your heart. Leave your brain out of the way. It will just mess you up unless you're doing math problems. Okay, so it looks like a pretty level year for the world economy. There's always chances for some kind of greed to take over. But it looks pretty good. Okay, let's talk about the USA. And some of you aren't going to like this. Let's talk about President Trump. Don't be hating. Political unrest will continue until about the end of the year, and then it'll start calming down. There will be an assassination attempt on President Trump. There actually already have been that were thwarted, according to Spirit. He does keep lots of protection around him. And if you think that you can hate him out of office, please reconsider. You cannot hate anything into changing except to become more powerful. What is it that you want? Now, I stay out of politics, except Spirit is asking me to talk about this. Because no matter what you think, there's always somebody that's going to get mad about it, and it gets this big thing going on. How can we help our country best? By asking your angels what you can do to help. Pay attention to what's going on in your life, and if you feel guided to start a protest or to contribute to something different, then do so. Always, I'm going to point you back to your heart every single time. So, and if there's someone that you would like to see elected, then support that person. However, refrain from supporting that person by denigrating the opposite party. You're giving out good and you're giving out bad, and nothing will happen. So that's what I have to say about politics. Now I want to talk about the weather. And how we can help this not to be so severe. There will be, if it stands as it is, another great hurricane on the East Coast, and it'll have the same destructive power of Harvey about September 3rd in there. And I'm going to give you a chant to say that's going to help this after we talk about the next thing on the list, which is the widening of the fault system in California, mostly, thankfully, in the desert. There is a chant that honors the elements. And I read about this chant in some of Tom Kenyon's. I'm sure it's other places too, because it's from the Egyptian culture. The chant honors the elements, and it's these words: Ka, El, Lim, Om, and then I like to add Anur, which means God's light, God's incorruptible light. But honoring the elements calms the elements. You know, each element is a sentient being. And we just take it for granted. Almost never are the elements honored. But chanting, whenever you hear of some kind of weather situation, chant into the vortex of the weather, Ka, El, Lim, Om, Anur. I like to make a little song out of it, and it goes like this: Ka, El, Lim, Om, Anur. Ah, it feels so good to do that. Okay. So, what shall we talk about next? I touched on this a little bit. It's a great time of choosing, both for the light and both for the dark. And whenever you hear of a calamity that feels sure that it involves a lot of the dark, send peace energy. You know, you have so much spiritual authority that you're not taken advantage of. You feel like a victim. It's time for you to remember your bone marrow has the secrets of your spiritual authority and your lineage. One of the greatest tricks the dark energies can do for us, to us, is to make us feel less than, make us feel not worthy because of something in our life that you gossiped, you did this, you did that. Therefore, you're not worthy to stand in spiritual authority. I disagree. You are very worthy to stand in spiritual authority. So assisting the light, and then as well, sending peace energy to the dark. Now, don't focus on the dark. And yet, whenever you hear of something dark, don't immediately go into hatred or anger or resentment. If you do need to go into anger, use some emotional freedom technique and tap on that till it feels like you can channel it into a positive way. And of course, if you do feel guided to use that anger to start a protest or something, then so be it, yet not in hatred. Hatred will hurt you. Hatred will cause you to have diseases in your body. Hatred will cause people to leave you. Now I want to talk about our star friends and the people of inner earth, because they kind of go together. The reason they kind of go together is because they're waiting to see enough movement in humanity to more fully reveal themselves. Both the star friends and the people of inner earth have so much wisdom to share with us. They are more advanced species, and many of us know or feel that we also are related to the star friends. Some of us have spent many lifetimes in other star systems. So people email me all the time and they want to go on a UFO or they want to see a UFO. And my question is, for what purpose? If it's just curiosity, well, I guess that's okay. And yet there is so much good information that we can channel in, having this purity of heart and just wanting to share with our brothers and sisters. The same with the people of inner earth. They're waiting to see enough of us become awakened that we can be trusted. For instance, if they give us some technology, how are we going to use it? To be of help? Or to keep it all to ourselves, or just to make money on it? Although there's nothing at all wrong with making money. Money is wonderful. And yet there has been so much greed among a lot of humanity, among government systems. Again, don't be hating. So later on in this year, I will be teaching a new course on channeling with a lot of new techniques that will help you get in touch with whomever you want to. So that is some information about the star friends and inner earth. Now, as you become more receptive and from your heart you want to get in touch with these star friends or people from inner earth, then they will be contacting you. If you take the time to be quiet and listen, so many people want to know how they can channel. Well, first of all, shut up. Listen and be in the space that you're ready to receive information. Always have a pen in your hand because you want to get it down and then pass it through the filter of your heart. Also, always ask, I command that only beings of highest light communicate with me. So that's that. Now, one thing I'm real excited to tell you about is the return of unicorn magic. Unicorn magic healing. My good friend Azeron, who is an Arcturian healer from the 10th dimension, informs me that we just think unicorns are extinct or that they were a myth, and that in fact they had to leave this earth and ascend into the 6th dimension and higher. Now, why did they have to leave? Why do you think? We were killing them. And here's something that I find curious. People were killing them, mostly men, because they thought their horn had magic powers. In actuality, their horns secreted this substance. And it was the substance on the horn that created the magic. Now, if they cut off the horn, the unicorn would die. Not immediately, but it would die of a broken heart. It would have willingly given the substance from the horn, and yet that wasn't enough for some people. And so if they cut off the horn, they didn't realize it was a substance on the horn and tried to grind it up or whatever, it wouldn't really be very magical because it's a substance that's magical, and only can it be given from a loving heart. The unicorn energy is very loving. Now, they like to keep to themselves because of much that has happened in the past. And yet they always, when they were in this plane, they were like space holders, peacekeepers. They didn't make themselves known very much at all. The sightings were few, and yet all through history, you find reports of unicorn energy. Now, what I'm excited about is that they're ready to once again connect with humanity. They have been doing it somewhat to a few people who are bringing through that energy, and yet they're ready to do it in a much greater way. I'm very likely going to be asked to go open a portal to help that energy stream in more fully. And if so, I'll be announcing that to you. I told Spirit this time, because I open portals about once a year, and it's always in Timbuktu and several days journey. And I said, I'm not going to drive. If there's a portal to be opened, I'm going to be flying to open it. So if you're subscribed to this channel, you'll get the first indication of if I'm going to open the portal, classes about unicorn magic. They're just waiting for enough hearts to be open and receptive, like Tinkerbell. I do believe in fairies. I do believe in unicorns. And they're the ones who approached me. I have not studied unicorns, do not know a thing about unicorns except they're beautiful. And so I feel very honored to be bringing this energy forth. Now, I want to talk about one more thing, and that is babies. Babies. There's a lot of souls on the other side who really want to come through. And there's a lot of folks on this side who really desire to have a baby of their own. And one of the things these spirits, by the way, I never see them as little babies on the other side. I see how they want to come and be your baby and what they want. However, they want to be part of this great ascension and moving forward. And so they're looking for parents who would be supportive of that. Many of these souls waiting to come through have already had a whole bunch of freaking karma. They're not ready to come and be abused. They're not ready to come and have themselves mashed like a bug with religious dogma. These spirits, many of them waiting to come through, are really wanting to be like beyond a crystal child, just to be masters from a very early age. And so I actually have other videos about helping people not just get pregnant, but have a happy, healthy baby. Please leave a comment in the section below if you'd like to know more about that. And so those are the topics that I was given to talk about. So for you, if you don't have a glass of water yet, isn't it fancy? You don't have to have a fancy glass, but I want to give you some information that's going to help you have the very best year possible, besides the don't be hating and the loving stuff. Just take a moment and get your glass of water. And I'm going to have a drink of mine. I drink to this broadcast. Water is so good. Okay, so I made a video about part of this earlier, but I feel it's real important to talk about. You want to have your best year, right? You want to leave all the old crap behind. So one of the things is to start with yourself and to ask yourself, have I kept my word this year? My word to myself, my word to others? Are there some promises that I have not kept? And just drop to your heart for guidance. And if something comes up and you remember a promise that you did not keep to a person, an entity, an organization, get in touch with them. Ask forgiveness. Don't make excuses. Well, I forgot is an excuse, or it happens. And rectify that. When I started doing this, I remembered that I had promised a woman that I would make her a video to help clear out her fallopian tubes with light. And I forgot about it. And when I did this, I remembered, and I did it a few weeks ago, or days ago. So how have you kept your word? Rectify that. If you cannot get in touch with the person or organization, call them into a circle of light and ask forgiveness and ask for them to be blessed. And especially move out of the blame and shame game. Well, they don't deserve for me to keep my word, yada, yada, yada. Move completely out of that. I want you to have your best year ever. Okay, so that's one way to have your best year ever. You're just going to start off with this wonderful clean slate. And then, for one thing, this year is going to be a year of changing a lot of old soul contracts. Some of you are stuck in relationships that you should have left 10 years ago. Some of you are with a person that's like an albatross around your neck. Some of you are feeling obligated to family members, also like an albatross around your neck. And I think I'll probably make a separate video just about the changing of the soul contract and how you can do that. And especially all of you who are looking for love, looking for your beloved, if you're hanging on to an old soul contract, how's the new one going to get through? And it can be painful. I'm going to give you a method on, I really will make a special video for this, that you can know for a truth if it's time to change a soul contract. You know, we made the cotton picking soul contracts, and we can call for the Hall of Akashic Records, and we can change things. This is the planet of free will. If you have enough spiritual growth to know about soul contracts and to have enough spiritual authority to ask to change it, then so be it. Oh, a really good thing that's coming up. See, I made notes. I just love flashcards. Is there is a lot more awakening of humanity coming up in the coming year. Just droves and droves and droves, especially the more light that you can put out. You don't have to go around saying, I'm a light worker, love one another. You can be the light worker and love yourself first, and then generate kindness and light everywhere you go. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters how your heart glows, and you can do that on purpose. You can send love ahead of you everywhere you go. You know, I love Dr. Pillai, which she has a lot of videos on here. And I love one of his mantras, which is probably other people's mantra as well. But You can KLEEM. KLEEM is a wonderful word. When you close your lips on the M, ooh, that sounds good. It vibrates the midbrain where a lot of wonderful miracles can happen. So if you don't know how to throw a pink net or send love a lot ahead of you, go through life chanting KLEEM, KLEEM, KLEEM. It makes people love you. And when you're loved, it attracts love to you. You're just a big ball of vibrational love. In all of these things, ask your angels for help. You know, the other day I was writing in my journal and meditating, which I do every morning, have for years. That's how I get all this information. And I remembered to ask my angels for help because I forget. I think it's for everyone else, and I forget. Well, you can ask the angels for help too. And I did. And wonderful things happened to me that day. Many surprising and wonderful things. So please don't let your angels sit around being bored to death like mine were kind of getting bored. Ask them for help with specific things. Okay, so it's time to baptize the new year. I did talk about us having spiritual authority, right? And you do have some water, right? Well, think about this. How do you want to baptize the new year? I know we talk about predictions, goals. We talk about, I love the word desired outcome. That just sounds wonderful. And yet, when you realize from a place of spiritual authority that you have the authority to baptize a situation, a year, a month, a day. So think about the whole year and how would you like to baptize it for yourself? For myself, Spirit had already whispered to me a few days before now that this is my year of restoration because for many years I lost many things and things have already started being restored to me. And you have the right to have restoration. Or perhaps what you'd like to baptize this year is one of great financial prosperity or one of finding that peaceful place. Is there anything more wonderful than peace? When you go to bed at night and you feel good with yourself and with the world, how wonderful is that? So finding a place of peace, and maybe it's better health. I baptized this year of better health. Just take a moment and drop to your heart and think about what that is for you. And I feel some of your minds racing, going, but I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Well, today, pick a general overview. Every single day, you can baptize it anew. Yes, you can. So pick up your glass. Whatever you chose, I want you to whisper it into the water. Water has memories. Did you know that? It has memories and it enhances transmission. So whisper into the water. I'm going to whisper mine. You whisper yours. Restoration. Do it 3 times. Restoration. Restoration. I baptized this year as the year of restoration. I feel chills all over my body. And then you're going to drink to your restoration. And just feel that energy of restoration or whatever, financial prosperity, good health. Maybe it was finding a beloved. Feel that energy just filling your being. And then you're going to dip your finger or 2 or 3 into and put it on your third eye and repeat after me. I baptize myself with this energy. I anoint myself with blessings. My word is good. My heart is pure. Namaste. Namaste. Isn't that good? Well, it's been my joy to bring you these possibilities and encourage you to embrace the new year without fear. All is well with you. Remembering that you can always turn to love. You can always turn to your heart. And you can always, I encourage you every day, ask your angels for help and baptize your day. Why not baptize every day for that which you desire? I'm Rebecca Marina, and I'll be back with a new video real soon. Maybe I won't have a feather boa. By the way, I'm open to receiving boas of every color. It's been my pleasure. Happiest of New Year's. And you're so loved. You're so wonderful. And I thank you.